So in putting these in order, which one should go where? Somebody must be able to do this. Miles, come on up. Move them, just grab the yellow box, kind of slide it up to the right spot. And we'll check and see if you do it right. Is that really right?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Can you explain why you know that that's right?
Well, all I have to do is look at the last two numbers, and -2 times -4 is +8, and this is the only one with +8 at the end.
Ah, okay. So you knew that it had to be this by process of elimination. You didn't even have to look at the middle term because you knew -2 times -4 made +8.
Yep.
All right, good point. All right, somebody else willing to come up? Come on up, Jordan. And if you get the next one right, then the third one just falls into place. Process of elimination, right? All right. So tell me why you think that's right.
Because if that's positive and that's negative, then it has to be positive too, and that's positive.
All right. So it's not the 8 that makes you sure.
No.
There's an 8 here. That's -8. That's a good thing, but that other one's -8 also, right? So how'd you know this one's right?
Because like a +4 and -2 would make +2, and that's positive.
All right. Very nice. And so this last one has to go there. Okay. One more time on that. Who's willing to come up and move one around? All right. Come on up, Patrick. Don't need them all moved. Just move one into place. Use logic to tell me why you know that's right. 8 plus 1 makes 9, and 8 times 1 makes 8. All right, so they multiply to 8 and they add to 9. All right, Rune. Tell me why you know it's right.
Because it's +8. That's the only one else was.
So these two things, oops, can't use red on red. That doesn't work so good. These two things do what?
They equal 8.
They multiply to 8. You are correct. And they also
Multiply to -9.
add up to -9x. All right, good. Last one, because then the other one will fall into place by process of elimination. Come on. Are there any brave girls in this world? Good. Terrell, come on.
I raised my hand before I said girl.
And tell me why.
Because -8, wait. Yeah, okay. -8 plus 1 equals -7.
So they add to -7.
And then -8 times the positive one is 6.
And they multiply to -8. All right, good job. And then this one must go here. All right. I don't think we need another screen of those. Instead, I'd like you to just factor this. The question would say, put this in factored form. So from what I've been telling you, hopefully you've remembered how to do this from when you learned it in algebra. You think of numbers that multiply to make 4. There's two ways you could do it, 1 and 4 or 2 and 2. Which one is it? 1 and 4. And yes, you could use negatives. If you use -4 and -1, though, what would be the problem with that? It would multiply to make +4. It wouldn't add up to +5. It would add up to -5. Do you remember what I said to do in that situation? If it adds up to the exact right thing except opposite, change the signs. Change them both to positives and you'd have it right. See what I'm saying? So that little rule can help. All right. Now, one thing you never did do in algebra, though, is factor it, and then we have a reason now why we need to factor it. Because we want the thing to equal 0. Why do I set y equal to 0? To find the x-intercepts. So why did I do this? So that I could find the x-intercepts, which are also known as the roots, which are also known as the zeros. So the roots, the factors, or sorry, the roots, the zeros, the solutions, The x-intercepts, they're all the same thing. And what are they in this case? Don't say 4 and 1. -4, -1. On all your factoring problems today, you have to do both things. You have to factor it, and then you have to give me the roots for it. Okay, so don't forget that second step. All right, let's do another one. Factor that. This looks a lot like the other one, but it's slightly different. You can always start that way, as long as we're not doing complicated ones, which we'll do tomorrow. What multiplies to make 4 and adds to make -5? That's that one we just did a minute ago. So anytime you're trying to multiply to make a positive and add to make a negative, you can know something about the two numbers. Yes?
Does it matter if you put like -4 in the first one and -1?
So if you said x -4 and x -1, what do you think? Do you think it'll be the same?
I didn't think
It is the same. And it's okay. Either way is fine. It's not like sometimes in math you have to like write it in a certain way. Either of those two is fine. Okay. So I know since these are both that they have to multiply to make a +4, but they have to add to make a negative, that they both have to be negative. This has to be negative and this has to be negative because that's the only way you'll get a positive here and a negative there. All right. One more to factor. Should be like chop chop. X. What is it? +4 -1. What if you started with -4 and +1? Then you get the opposite middle term and you just have to switch them. Okay. I can check this quick by doing first outside, inside, last. Firsts, outside, -1x. Inside, +4x. Lasts, -4. And then these together make +3, so it worked. All right. The only thing that gets harder here is when you have problems that look like this. And there's one simple thing you have to do, and then it becomes an easy problem again. Divide them all by something. You're right. That's called the GCF, the greatest common factor. What is the greatest common factor in this one right here? 3 is in everything. So I take a 3 out of everything, and here's what I'd have left. If I yoink a 3 out of this, I've got x squared. If I take a 3 out of that and bring it to the front, I'd have 6x. Really, I'm dividing by 3 when I'm doing this. And divide this by 3, I would get 8. And now, take a guess what you're going to have to do. Factor that. So you get 3 and then factor this. And then it's the same as normal. What multiplies to 8 and adds to 6? 4 and 2. There we go. And what would the roots be? -4 and -2. All right. This one's a little weird because it's only a binomial. This is problem number 2. See if you can do that one. Factor out the greatest common factor. I'm going to pause while you do that. Okay, so I'm going to factor a 4x out of both terms, and I'll end up with an x left, because when I take this and divide by 4x, I have just an x left. And then I go divide this one by 4x, and I have -3. You can check this quick by just multiplying it back out quick. That times that should give me 4x squared, and that times that should give me -12x, and that's right. And that is the right answer. Curious how many of you figured that out before I said it. A couple of you. All right. That was tougher, I guess. Do you see how, now that I showed you that, do you understand how that works? There's an x in everything, and so I just have to factor that out too. All right. The last one, number 3. Is there an x in every term? No, so I can't do that same thing I did on the last one. So, 2. Or should I take out -2? Why? Make your life easier, exactly. Because after that, this will lead with a positive x squared. If I hadn't done that, if I'd only factored out a 2, then there'd be a negative in here, which it makes it way harder to factor. So don't do that to yourself. Okay, so this one, finish it for me. All right, so there we have it.